Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So I have a hobby where I try to find the most outrageous Dave Ramsey content out there and then show it to you guys, because some of the calls he gets when people go and ask for advice are absolutely insane. And that brings me to this here. First of all, the title is just amazing, okay? It's titled, "You're the Richest Broke Guy I've Talked to in a While." So with that said, you guys, I want to share this call with you because it is an absolute train wreck. As soon as you hit the like button and subscribe, that's it. Thank you so much. Now let's begin.
We have Adam in Phoenix.
My wife and I, we have quite a bit of debt. And so I was wondering how we should start working through that. We have about $150 in car loans and about $280 in student loans.
$150,000 in car loans. The guy knows what he should be doing. This isn't rocket science here. It's not like we're trying to cure cancer here. The guy just is buying cars that he can't afford, taking out loans, and he doesn't have the cash to pay it off outright. I don't get why he has to call in and say, "How do I pay off my debt?" Just pay it off. Don't do it. I don't get it. If you don't have the money to buy a lot of these things outright, don't do it, especially if it's a luxury item like a car. I think a house and, a drivable car, those things I could get behind. Maybe a student loan if you want to be like a doctor, lawyer, a specialized career, but not because you want to mob around in Corvettes.
And then about $280 in student loans.
Adam, how much do you guys make a year?
Combined about $330.
He's in way too much debt. $330,000 a year, which is really good income, but the cars, come on. He has half of his income in a year in car debt. And then beyond that, the student loan debt is more than double what the car debt is. So to me, again, it just seems like common sense. I don't know why someone is smart enough to make $300,000 a year is not smart enough to know when not to take out debt. Just know not to be, silly with your money. That's all it is.
Why do you have $150,000 in cars? I guess you make $330, so I guess that works. What kind of cars do y'all drive?
The BMW is one of them.
Yeah.
And another one is a newer truck.
You know what? I would just tell the guy, sell the cars. You don't need a nice truck unless it's a work truck. And that car is like for utility, brings some business. The BMW, come on. What BMW is you riding around with a $75,000 loan on it? It's either a 7 Series or an M something or other. He's probably driving like an M4, M3 all souped up, maybe an M5. That's my guess. Sell the cars, get rid of the loan. That's what I would do. He's driving Priuses from now on. That's what I would say.
We have quite a bit in home equity. Is that something that would be on the table to sell our house and just basically wipe it all out in one fell swoop?
No, you don't need to sell your house. I can kind of just dive into it.
Before Rachel says that, you're the richest broke guy I've talked to in a while.
Ooh, mic drop, boom. You know what the thing is, though? If you replaced the cars with student loan debt, people would think about it so much differently. If this guy's a doctor, he's in $500,000 of student loan debt, but he's still making $300,000 a year, people would just say, all right, you got to pay off the student loan debt. To me, it's the issue of the cars, the spending, the thinking that that's okay to do. That, to me, is really what needs to be cleaned up here. Get rid of the cars. Chip away at the student loan debt. Don't sell the house, depending on the interest rate, of course. But that's what I would do. That's what I would say.
You can't afford these cars, Adam. So I'm selling them. I mean, I'm going to get rid of them, use some of this 10 grand to buy, or wait for the 30 grand to come in, spend 15 grand on 2 cars. And again, they're not going to be BMWs and a nice truck. Like, you're going to have a lifestyle shock factor.
No, he should take pride at this point in saving some money on the cars. He's lived it up. He's in his 40s. He doesn't need the fast cars anymore like that. Not at this point. Not because he can't afford it. So I'd say sell the cars, spend no more than $15,000 each on a car. That's it. 2 cars, $30,000 total. Pay for them outright in cash. Be done with that. But the extra payments towards the student loans, knock those out in like 4 years, give or take, and he's good. And then he could coast for a while, save the money, and then maybe in his 60s, get a nice Corvette.
I would sit down and I would say, all right, we're in Phoenix, we make $380. How do we live on 75 grand next year? What if we just took majority of our income, sold the cars, paid off the debt? I mean, all this could be turned around in a year, Adam.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he wants to do that, though. The issue is with the kids. The kids are probably used to a nicer lifestyle. I'm not saying he has to keep up the spending to keep up that lifestyle, but I'm just saying maybe for a family of 4, they have additional expenses, healthcare. We have no idea. In theory, what they're saying is completely correct, but it sounds like you know, with his mortgage, kids, life. 75 grand, doable, but would be quite the sacrifice for him.
Personally, I've been looking at ways to maybe even increase our income.
You can. I just think y'all freaking need to cut your lifestyle for a year. That's all you got to do.
It's like saying, you know, I have a leaky bucket. There's dripping water everywhere. So instead of fixing the bucket, I'm just going to get more water to pour in it so it doesn't leak as much. No, you got to fix the problem. That's it. The source of the problem, the cars, the spending. That's really all it is. If he could get those under control, everything else will fall into place.
Walk through this process with your wife because, again, I'm so encouraged by your numbers. You guys could have an insane life that's all yours and not tied to the bank anymore, but you guys have to make that decision.
Now, if you thought that concept was bad, there's another one that's even more confusing to me, and it's infinite banking. It's these people that say you can make all this money from doing infinite banking and using the system to your advantage to create money out of thin air. And I never understood. I tried so hard to understand what infinite banking is, and if you're as lost as I am, just watch this. Here's a debate with Dave Ramsey on it.
I am calling in response to a video I saw recently that you claimed infinite banking concept was a scam. I do not agree with that in certain points that you made in that video.
This is the most polite debate that I've ever seen, where someone comes on and be like,
I disagree with you with what you said, and that hurt my feelings. And I'm going to share my thoughts and tell you why I think that you're incorrect and misinformed.
It's like, most people just lay on him. Like, well, hey, Dave Ramsey, you're an idiot, you're this, you're that. No, this seems to be pretty respectful.
There's a few points that I wanted to discuss that I just didn't agree with.
Okay.
Do you want to just kind of take one thing at a time?
Sure, that's fine. Sure.
Okay. One of the main things was that you claim that the cash value dies with you.
Now, for those unaware, because it's really difficult to explain, infinite banking, and I'm quoting this from NerdWallet, okay? But it involves getting an insurance policy and then using that as a line of credit. As NerdWallet says, whole life policies earn cash value at a guaranteed rate over time. Once you've accumulated enough, you could begin to borrow against your life insurance policy. And again, that's how it's kind of creating this infinite money glitch, which to me, it never fully makes any sense, as you're about to see.
The actual cash value dies with you.
No, because
yes, it does.
Okay, but your death benefit is larger than your cash value. So for me, I looked at it
because you bought more insurance.
If you're still confused, this user on Reddit actually put this into really good words in a way that I wouldn't be able to clarify as well as this. You lock in the interest rate you have to pay on the loan at the beginning and then hope the investment earns more. You're taking all the risk and the person who loans you the money gets all the safety. All of this is bundled up as a vehicle to sell you whole life insurance, which honestly speaking sucks. If you want to borrow against investments, you should use investments that earn good returns so you have a good shot at having a higher return than your loan interest. So all of this centers around you purchasing whole life insurance, that paying you out, you reinvesting that, and then borrowing against it. Which, to me, there's no such thing as free money. It's like going to a casino and saying, oh, I have a winning strategy. I could go and beat the casino every single time. No, you can't. If that happens, the casinos will eventually put an end to it. They'll stop it. You're not going in there anymore. They're going to patch it, and it's going to be done. So I think when it comes to money, same thing's going to apply.
Well, let's just do a little present value calculation on what you put in for a baby. $5,000 a year for 13 years. Do you know what that would be in a mutual fund?
See, here's the thing. Dave has a good point on that if you just invested the money instead, especially if you could do it for a child in a Roth IRA so it's completely tax-free at the age of retirement, that's huge. So what I've heard a lot of parents doing is that they hire their child. They pay the child enough so that they basically could show income low enough that they're not going to have a tax burden, and then they put that income into a Roth IRA. So if you set this up as a parent starting from the age of 1 and you put $5,000 a year into it, paying the child out over the course of their lifetime, I mean, just imagine what that could be by the time they actually start working and actually start paying taxes. That's money that they could have for life. That'll set them up for the rest of their life. Not, crazy enough to go and ball out of clubs every night, but enough that they'd have a secure retirement just within 10 years of doing this early on if you have the money to spare.
Instead of putting it into this rip-off thing and making 4% on your money, and when he dies, he loses his cash value, if you had put this in a good mutual fund, you'd have 100x, 10x the amount of money.
So just for clarification, if you do this, for a child, starting at the age of 0, just until the age of 10. You invest a total of $50,000 during that time, even assuming during that first 10 years the money's not earning anything. After 50 years, so by the time the child is 60 years old, they'd have $1.5 million completely tax-free just from 10 years of investing early on in a Roth IRA when they're too young to work anyway. So to me, that $50,000 is going to turn to $1.5 million. Tax-free. Come on. Do this. If you have the money, do it.
I mean, banks use this product to...
No, they do not. You've been watching too much TikTok. Banks do not use whole life.
We could Google it and see what typically banks do with their money. I believe...
Typically, banks never put money... Let me tell you what banks do. They put it in bonds.
Yeah, banks aren't out there doing this crap. You think really JP Morgan's out there being like, ooh, let's go and do the infinite banking concept that will borrow against whole life insurance policy. No, come on, they're not doing it. Putting in treasuries and bonds, like Dave Ramsey said.
Paid-up additions are the only way that cash value increases unless you're using a universal life program B where you pay extra to get the extra insurance, which is another form of paid-up additions.
That isn't coming out of my pocket, though. I put $70,000.
It is coming out of your pocket.
So it's kind of like saying I'm buying a dividend stock, and all the dividends it's giving me is free. That's free money that I can then go and buy more of the stock of to increase my returns to pay me out more dividends. I get that, but the money's still not free. I mean, you're investing it, so you have an opportunity cost there. If you were to put it somewhere else, the money would be earning more money or maybe the same somewhere else. So whatever you're getting back from that, it's not free money. Nothing is ever free. You don't get ever something for nothing. Unless you hit the like button and subscribe, because then you get these videos and you get to enjoy them, and they cost you absolutely nothing. So hit the like button and subscribe.
There is no such thing as a paid up. That's an industry term that gets suckers like you. That's what it is. No, paid up means prepaid. You paid all of the premiums in 13 years for his whole freaking life in advance. I think you ought to keep it. It's perfect for you.
Yikes. So let me know what you guys think down below. It's a really complicated concept. It's hard for me to explain without really planning it out exactly how I want to convey it. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I'll do my best to read as many comments as I can. And also, don't forget that you could get some free stocks worth all the way up to a few $1,000s with a paid affiliate link down below in the description. Enjoy that because it's like 10 minutes of work. It seems like a pretty good ROI if you want to be a part of it. The link is down below. Thank you so much, and until next time.